It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe. Joining me as always, Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, new week ahead of us, an exciting time in greater West Bloomfield.
Another day, another opportunity, Tyler. So happy to be here. What a time to be alive, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you want to talk about taking advantage of opportunities. Just over a year ago, it was heartbreak in East Lansing for the West Bloomfield Lakers girls varsity basketball team, coming up just shy in their campaign to repeat as state champions in their loss to Rockford. 371 days after that loss, the championship trophy is heading back to 4925 Orchard Lake Road. Here's the story. For senior guard Destiny Washington, this was the perfect way to go out, winning a championship with a team that has become family over her 4 years at WB, and especially after an emotional journey on championship weekend.
This championship is very special because our last time playing with this group of girls, and it means a lot just to go out there and execute how we know we can execute and come out with a win. Yesterday was a lot of mixed emotions because of the buzzer beater 3 and fouling out, but today we really came in focused knowing that yesterday wasn't it, and that we had another game today.
The game may have tipped off at 12:15, but Coach Darren McAllister says this championship started long before anyone was keeping score.
In the beginning of the season, we knew that we left some hardware here in East Lansing. And so that was our mindset. We had to come back and get that. So we were working each and every day during the preseason to make sure that we were prepared for this moment.
For the Lakers senior core, this was their chance to finish their careers the way they always intended, going out not only as champions, but icons in West Bloomfield basketball history.
Each year our bond gets better, and each year everybody's game gets better. And watching them from when we were freshmen, really young kids, to now on a big stage, winning championships, it means a lot. I'm just really happy that we all had a good game tonight, and everybody did what they're supposed to do. Everybody went out there and scored. Everybody made the extra pass today. This team is really my favorite team.
Kendall Hendricks already won one championship with her West Bloomfield family, but it was blood that motivated her quest for title number 2 after witnessing the heartbreak that ended her sister Sydney's career at West Bloomfield.
I wanted to do it for my sister because I know how devastating it was not being able to win it for her last year. And I think just the motivation and the determination and work we put in, it's just we gotta win it. We did too much, we spent too many hours, had too much pain, waited 372 days to get back at Rockford. So it was meant to be. She helped me become the player I am today and the person I am today. I look up to her a lot. So I wish that we could have got 2 with her, but she's at home in Florida cheering us on.
In the 2024 season, this Lakers squad learned that winning a state title was about more than star power, growing closer than ever as they pursued taking back a championship they always believed belonged in West Bloomfield.
I would say as a whole, everybody had a chip on their shoulder, ready to come back and get revenge on the team, and we played our game today.
I just came in here with the mentality that this is our last game as a team. This is my last game at West Bloomfield, and I was going to play my game and execute.
First of all, it starts with the belief. Our players believe in us, we believe in them, and they buy in. That's what the main thing is, just buying in and coming in and putting in that work, understanding your assignment, getting out there and executing. And listen, the proof is in the pudding. 3 years, 2 state championships, runner-up. Come on, man. What else can be said?
The Lakers are now set to graduate 5 seniors, but don't let that fool you, says Coach Mack. This era of Laker titles is far from over.
It's a short time because we come back. We got to get back in the lab and develop some more players so we can come back here again, because people think that we're going to fall off, but we're not falling off. Our name is on the leash. You'll see us here next year.
3 championship appearances in 3 seasons, 2 of those coming home with the title, and really a couple of plays away in 2023 from this possibly being an MHSAA Division I three-peat for the Lakers. That being said, this core of players, these seniors that have been on this team, some for 4 years, some for all 3 of these appearances, they're going down as legends in Laker basketball and really have set benchmark for excellence for this next era, the continuation, as Coach McAllister would say, of this winning era in West Bloomfield Lakers basketball. Star power definitely on display there, Kevin. They got a police escort out of West Bloomfield on a snowy Friday on their way up to East Lansing.
I saw it, Tyler. Man, once again, I am so happy to be a part of their journey. I know I came in the tail end, but to see them go from where they were all the way to become D1 state champions, it's crazy. Like, my luck to be a part of this, two state championship teams. And then you always wonder, when did it kick in? Like, when did they realize they actually won their championship? I could tell Coach knew that he was a champion when he put the buffs on and started doing the boss up. I was like, it sunk in, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a great moment that you can see on the NFHS network if you watch that game back to the MHSAA. Coach McAllister calls a timeout. He called a couple of those late in the game. The one where he was dancing around, putting the buffs on, starting to celebrate in the final 20 seconds or so of the game is one that a lot of people are going to focus in on. But there's another one that was earlier on, about 90 seconds to a minute left in the game. He calls a timeout to thank all of the seniors, those upperclassmen that have been on this journey through the triumph a couple of years ago, the heartbreak last year, and the redemption of this season. Thanked them for it, and then a few minutes later, when they had secured that victory and they were in the final seconds, one last chance to say, look, now we get a chance to celebrate. Then we got to be humble and thank our opponents in Grand Blanc, who played an excellent game all throughout the season and came up short this year. We know where they've been at, and we want to respect that. So we're going to celebrate here right now and then celebrate after in the locker room when we are all together. But nonetheless, our full comprehensive coverage, Kevin, we were out there both Friday and Saturday. All of that coverage from both the semifinal and the final is available on civiccentertv.com, on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15, and on YouTube at Civic Center TV. And there were so many great moments, not only the championship, the celebration with putting the buffs on and dancing in the camouflage for Coach McAllister, but some really key moments that have gotten buzz all across the state. It's March Madness time, the men's and women's tournament at the college level on display with some crazy final moments that end up changing the course of basketball history. We had one of those for West Bloomfield, down 13 points late in the game in the semifinal on Friday. Looked like things were over for West Bloomfield, and then they inched back throughout the late third quarter, throughout the late fourth quarter, and Rockford went to the line. They hit 1 out of 2 shots. West Bloomfield got the basketball back with seconds left on the clock, down 3 points, and needing a hero. So who did they turn to? Gatorade Player of the Year, India Davis. Take a look. That shot sending the Lakers into overtime in the semifinal, tied it up at 46. They ended up going on a 9-1 run in the overtime period, defeating Rockford 55-47. Redemption for the Lakers, and a great shot there by some guy known as Kevin McIntosh on our team. Look at that. Got the shot, got the reaction, the full scope of this, that moment down in that corner at the Breslin Center.
Tyler, listen, man. I might be biased. That might be one of the greatest shots captured in high school basketball history, and I got it, man. We got it, I should say. So I'm so happy. And for the viewers on 89.3 Lakes FM, you can't see it, but check it out at civiccentertv.com. The majority of the crowd was wearing orange for the other team. You can see that in the video, and we shut that entire side down with that shot. I was so happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, it really was an interesting dynamic in there, because the West Bloomfield faithful, we know they travel really well, but there was a snowstorm on Friday morning. It was really affecting the east side of the state during the time that a lot of people would have been traveling west toward East Lansing. So those coming from the west side of the state, a little bit of an easier road. They got the snowstorm in parts of the state earlier on in the day, and for Rockford, able to go and travel in from a different route to get around that storm. So they brought their faithful out there. They were excited for the game, and everyone was in good spirits. A very, very classy environment for all that showed up to the MHSAA tournament. Big thank you to John Ross and Jeff Kimmerly and the team at the MHSAA for having us out. And again, full coverage from both the semifinal and the finals on our website on civiccentertv.com, including if you're listening on Lakes FM as we speak. When you get to a safe location, you can watch the video. Go there, you'll see that shot from India Davis that changed the course of West Bloomfield Lakers and MHSAA Division I girls basketball history. What a weekend in East Lansing. Back here locally in the greater West Bloomfield area, some efforts being made to help those that are continuing through the aging process to do so gracefully through exercising both their body and their mind in ways that are low impact on their body, but high impact on their quality of life. Reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
It's always important to keep up with exercise and to maintain yourself physically, but it's just as important to keep up with your mind's health along with your body's. Elements Every Day, an open house event sponsored by Care and Faith LLC, took place this past Friday, opening their doors for the public to get to know the teachers a little better and to learn about some exciting new classes that are coming up very, very soon.
It's an open house to invite the community and introduce them to our space, our teachers, our classes that are all geared for wellness, both physically, mentally, and overall. There are yoga classes that are geared for anyone seeking a quiet, small space. Because this is a mental health practice, the community space is geared for smaller, more intimate classes where the teacher can really be more connected to the student. And if there are special adaptations or needs of the student, those can be communicated easily and definitely be accommodated. Most of our demographic is going through something that has to do with a fundamental shift in their life due to either a change in their status, maybe they've retired, maybe they've been diagnosed with something that has changed the trajectory of their life, and we're here to accommodate everyone in a space that can rejuvenate and refuel them.
We're going to be teaching a 7-week class called Memory Keepers. It's basically exercise for your brain. It's for people who want to sharpen their brain or have noticed a mild memory loss. The research has shown that if people attend to exercise, diet, nutrition, socialization, and good sleep, we won't be dealing with sleep, that it is showing that it's more effective, or at least as effective as the new dementia medications. So I got very excited when I came across this class that addresses all that within 1 hour. And you do it for 7 weeks, and hopefully people will continue into 14 weeks of doing these classes, where within each class we do 10 minutes of each of those activities.
How important would you say yoga is overall to people's mental health and their well-being?
The body keeps the score. What that means is that all of this is interconnected. Our mental and physical health is interconnected, and a primary theme throughout the work that I do every day in the conversations that I'm in with my clients is loneliness and people feeling as if they are the only ones going through their experience, which for them they are, because each person is unique. However, in the greater scope of things, we're all on a journey. This is a space to come together, to move your body, channel your energy into different places through that movement, which ultimately releases a lot of the tension and the stress in the body. And furthermore, you have an opportunity to re-pattern your thoughts, and your body gets to feel rejuvenated by the alleviation of all that mental stress and tension.
It's teachers like these that will make everyone feel welcome and will help put your body and mind on the path to success. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Important insight there from Jake and the team at Elements Every Day as people are looking to age gracefully, and part of that is figuring out what works for you, whether it's your exercise routine or your mental health routine or whatever else you're bringing into your life each and every day. Care and Faith LLC on Facebook for more information on the Elements Every Day program and more. And Kevin, really interesting story too, because we know that as we get older, it gets a little bit tougher to maintain an exercise program. program, especially one that's very rigorous as we tend to have earlier on in life. And so these are different individuals and groups within our community that we're able to come together and teach some of our elder residents some ways they can maintain their health and maintain their fitness, both physically, mentally, and intellectually as they age gracefully.
I love something that she said there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she said the mind keeps score. That was a little bit. I like that. I like the way that she put that essentially. And you know, you've seen me in the studio meditate before. It's never too early to get into that. I find mental health to be extremely important. It's because I take time to meditate and things like that and get my mental health together. That I personally look good. I'm actually 104 years old, but look at me, Tyler. It's mental health.
Hey, 104 years old and counting, soon to be 105, and couldn't be feeling any better. Good news from Kevin McIntosh. We're getting to that time of the year, Kevin. However, something that does stress people out, maybe age them a little bit, is doing their taxes, getting all that information together, filling out the forms, sending them into the IRS and the state of Michigan. But not only are we preparing ourselves for tax season, so are scammers preparing to steal your information, steal your money, and more as we head toward April 15th. Joining us from the Better Business Bureau of Detroit and Eastern Michigan is Nakia Mills, their Director of Marketing, as we examine some of the ways that scammers will be targeting consumers this time of the year. Nakia, as we welcome you in, what are some of the common ways that we often see scammers targeting either consumers that are filing their own taxes or even preparers of tax preparers at this time of the year?
The truth is, they kind of switch it up every year, but we see the same themes, just, they reinvent themselves with a new twist. Those scammers do that, right? One of the top ones, as we all know, people like to try to impersonate the IRS. So you might get a phone call or a letter saying that, oh, you have this refund, but we can't give it to you until we get your personal information. So beware of those, because once you give that personal information, you discover there is no extra refund. They just are trying to get your information so they can steal your money or possibly pretend to be you and file taxes if you haven't filed them already. So that's one of the big ones. And then there's, of course, tax ID theft, which is why we tell everyone file early as you can, because some scammers, if they somehow already got a hold of your social security number, will file taxes and then they get your refund. So then when you file, you get a letter from the IRS saying, hey, this number has already been filed under the social security number. So those are two of the big ones. And then, of course, there's phishing, right? We all know the phony emails where it's a bogus website that they get you to click on saying maybe, oh, you e-filed, but we need you to update your information. Just click this link. Those are kind of the biggest ways. And then, of course, there's the threatening. If you owe the IRS and you're not expecting your refund, you might get the call from an impersonator, even threatening you with jail if you don't pay them on the spot during that phone call.
And these scammers, that particularly those that are targeting people with unsolicited communications, those threatening phone calls, like you said, threatening jail time, or saying you have a fine you have to pay and you have to pay it right now or we're coming to get you. They often take a couple of tactics that should immediately be red flags, particularly some of the ways they're trying to collect those funds.
Yes, one thing you'll notice, the real IRS isn't going to force you on the spot at this moment, or we're sending, the FBI or cop to your door. So that's a real red flag. As soon as you hear that pressure that, oh, you must do it right now, or it's some excessive threat that doesn't even seem realistic. And then there's also, just pay attention to, on websites or in person, grammar and how are you being contacted. The IRS is not contacting you through text. They're not going to contact you through social media. They're not asking for personal information over the phone. So just be very careful and think about this type of communication. Is the IRS really going to try to reach me this way?
Yeah, it's all different things to consider, and there's so much great information out there for people in our communities to avoid these sorts of scams and so many others. If you're looking for information that's helpful during tax season or really any time of the year, or just to keep up to date on how scam artists are navigating, bbb.org is the website for the Better Business Bureau, and you can navigate even to their Detroit page through their website for Detroit and Eastern Michigan, which is where we're being joined today from Nakia Mills, Director of Marketing for the Better Business Bureau of Detroit and Eastern Michigan on the Splash Live. And also a lot of people this time of the year, as they're filing their taxes, maybe they're doing it alone themselves, and that takes a lot of, like you would be doing with a tax preparer anyway, collecting a lot of documents, and those documents have your personal information on it, bank account information, student loan information, your social security number, maybe even other information like insurance. And so as you're sending those documents in, as you're preparing those documents to fill out those papers, what should you be doing with those documents that have all that personal information on it afterwards to dispose of it properly and protect your personal information in that way?
Why you said that word. Some of us lately, we don't safeguard our social security information. That number is so vital. So you said the right word, protect that information, shred it completely. Don't think, oh, I'm just going to crumble it up and smash it in my trash. You should use a real shredder, get that information put away. You don't want anyone to access those details. And I would add to, just because we do offer tips for people, we have a special site just dedicated to taxes at bbb.org/tax tips. And that information not only helps you learn about the scams, it gives you a lot more tools to avoid being scammed.
That's bbb.org/tax tips for more information. They'll have resources from all throughout the U.S. for filing your taxes and preparing for potential tax scams this time of the year, including an article that's right at the top of that page, Tips to Protect Yourself from Tax Scams, great ways to get information that you may need. And Nakia, also this time of the year, as we're talking about protecting that personal information, so many people, they don't want to go through the exhaustion of crunching the numbers and doing all the calculations and filling out the tax form, so they may use an expert or a tax preparer in order to help them with the process. But that comes with its own challenges and its own risks as well. So as people are looking for a tax preparer, or they're getting that information prepared to bring to an accountant, what should they be looking for? What should they be looking out for as they prepare to align with a tax preparer?
Right. That's something you have to be very careful in research, right? Because sometimes our friend might tell us that they know this person who does taxes and they can get you this great refund and they have this great price, but you have to be very careful. Make sure you're doing your research. Look them up on bbb.org in our directory. What are people saying? Search their name in general, just Google. Look on social media. Are people posting saying this person took their money and they never got a refund or their taxes weren't filed? Definitely make sure you do your research, search that name everywhere you can, especially if it's an individual and not part of an organization. I'm not saying all individual CPAs or tax accountants are bad, but you definitely want to do your research if it's a company or an individual by just looking them up in different channels to make sure there's no negative information out there about them.
And are there any sort of certifications or accreditations that people should be looking for also that may help them to navigate and weed out some of the potential bad actors?
It's kind of the same, similar, those red flags where if you feel like something might be too good to be true, they maybe are those types that are always promising a refund, right? All of us aren't always going to get a refund. So just be very careful if it's those kind that are, hey, just give us your money up front and we'll get you this huge refund, or we'll give you some money. Just be careful, because sometimes they'll try to reel you in because they really want your personal information more than they really plan to file your taxes for you. Sometimes people can get a fake tax preparer and they feed them all this information, and then the tax preparer disappears. So just pretty much when you have that gut feeling, go with it. A lot of times it's just that simple. And so long as you do your research, and then if you hear your brain telling you be careful, listen to your brain.
And it's always best to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to your personal information. And Nakia, as you're joining us from the Better Business Bureau, Nakia Mills, the Director of Marketing for the BBB of Detroit and Eastern Michigan, with us on the Splash Live. That's especially the case nowadays, where whether you're using a tax preparer's services, a CPA's services, or you're doing your taxes yourself, in many cases, a lot of this can and often is done online, which adds its own security risks too. What considerations should people be making as they're maybe preparing or filing their taxes on the web?
It's huge. You want to make sure it's the real website. We all know people now make these fake websites. They can steal that IRS logo, or maybe, a tax preparer. I won't say any names, but a popular tax preparer's logo, and make the site look just like that. And then you're typing your information into a fake site. So always look in the address bar and make sure when you click a link, because we might search, tax preparer online or even irs.gov, right? But sometimes people know how to hijack those links. And then when you click on it, you end up on their website. So make sure that address bar says you are where you thought you were supposed to end up. And then even once you're on that site, look for grammar. A lot of times these fraudsters have poor grammar. Sometimes they're not even from the US when they're doing these things. So a telltale sign, a lot of times you can tell that something's not quite right, because the government isn't using all these grammatically incorrect statements and a lot of pressure statements kind of rush you through the process to get you to enter your information. So those are some red flags when you're looking online. And make sure it's always secure. The real sites are going to have the HTTPS showing that it's a secure website.
Yeah, that's all great information that you can find online at bbb.org/tax tips for more information on keeping yourself protected during tax preparation season. Of course, we know tax day coming up on April 15th, but so much time, energy, and a lot of personal information goes into that. Always important to keep up to date. Oakland County also on Facebook on their page at OakGov, providing some additional tips that lead to resources very similar to what was provided by the Better Business Bureau. All great places to go for information this time of the year as we're getting ready to file our taxes with the IRS and with the state of Michigan. Joining us on the Splash Live is Nakia Mills, the Director of Marketing at the Better Business Bureau of Detroit and Southeastern Michigan. Nakia, before we let you go, any lasting advice that we haven't discussed yet today that would be important for people to keep in their mind and consider as they're getting ready to put their taxes in?
Not even so much as they're getting ready. I feel like we covered those pretty securely, but I do want to point out to people, because they freak out if they do think their identity has been stolen, if they do think they're a victim of tax fraud. The most important thing you can do is first put a fraud alert on your credit report, because this means someone has your social security number. So make sure that you go to either one of the three: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. If you put that fraud alert on one account, the other two will also add that fraud alert to their service as well. So that's very important for people to know, because we don't want you to think if something does happen, we want to make sure you know what to do next. And you should also make sure you contact the FTC. That's just at ftc.gov/complaints. And also report it, with us on bbb.org/scam trackers. So hopefully people can understand what happened so that it doesn't happen to them.
Yeah, there are resources out there if you do notice that your identity has been stolen. I'm someone that has been through that process before, and one of those red flags that proved that to me was getting a letter back from the IRS, actually getting a tax return early when I had not filed taxes yet at all. And so taking those steps can be really important, as Nakia said, in order to protect yourself. If you do get a notice like that starts putting alarm bells off, there are protections that are in place, and a lot of those protections you can put in place before you would even potentially fall victim. Nakia, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have Nakia Mills on with us to talk about tax season. It's a time of the year that a lot of us get targeted. You think about that. You think about some different touch points throughout the year. You think about especially the holidays, when people are doing gift giving and are donating to charities at the end of the year to get those write-offs on their taxes or to help people in need during the holidays. Then you think about tax season as another big one also, as people are filing their taxes and looking to get those returns, Kevin. That's a really important time of the year, and that's when scammers try to really target people that are in need of some services or are going to have their information out there maybe in a variety of different ways. And so they can take advantage and, in some cases, steal your money.
Tyler, the great philosophers of Run DMC once said, it's tricky, and taxes are very, very, very tricky. Trust me, I've had my ins and outs with my personal taxes, my business taxes, my Social Security information, and that information being taken and jeopardized. So trust me, at the end of the day, make sure you see a professional, a licensed professional from a legitimate source to take care of your personal information and your taxes. Great information.
Yeah, and there's a number of different ways you can find those individuals. As Nakia had mentioned, there's a number of different things you can look out for as you do begin those interactions with those people. What questions are they asking you? What information are they requiring off the bat before you've even formally hired them to provide these services, or any other red flags that may pop up in the process or shortly after, and especially if you believe that your identity has been stolen. Before you take any further steps, you're going to want to put those a freeze on your credit file, a fraud alert on your credit file, report that to the Federal Trade Commission or FTC, and then you have a number of other steps that also help to protect you with the IRS for your taxes going forward after that. Really, really important information. And again, so many other resources can be found on tax tips and scam avoidance information and everything you need to know to get yourself safely and securely through this tax season from our friends at the Better Business Bureau. BBB.org/tax tips is the place to go. BBB.org/tax tips, or Facebook at MyBBB for more info from our local Better Business Bureau serving Detroit and the eastern region of Michigan. Kids are off school this week. It's a lot less busy out on the roads and around our school buildings as they're all out on spring break. And parents, if you're watching, if you're listening, and you're looking for something to do to get your kids off those screens, out and about in the community, and maybe having some fun and learning on their time off, the West Bloomfield Library has you covered. Joining us on the program is Justine Flores, the Youth Services Librarian with the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well today, and I'm glad to have you on, and want to dive right into it and see what the library has to offer over spring break to keep kids engaged in our community, especially in their learning, even on their week off from the classroom.
Yeah, it's so important to keep the learning happening even when schools are out. So all of the school breaks, it was a great time to visit the library. And so we have elementary age programs Monday through Thursday, all week long. Today, this afternoon, we have a elementary savvy scientist program that's going to be involved with some planting for springtime. Tomorrow, we have a writers program in the afternoon. That's for elementary as well. Wednesday, we have 2 programs. In the morning, there is a story time for the younger set. And in the afternoon, we have a cultural program called Spring Around the World. We're going to talk about how spring is celebrated in 7 different places around the world. And Thursday, we have 2 programs in conjunction with the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum, one for younger children, one for older children.
And all these programs can be found on WBLIB.org or on their Facebook page, facebook.com/WestBloomLIB, for even more information. And Justine, as you're putting these programs together, there's a lot of learning elements that go into it, but what I can't help but notice with each of these programs is the interactivity is such a core part of how these were designed. How did the library go about designing these different programs or working with the community partners to put something together that was going to be engaging for the kids, but not seem like another day in the classroom?
Right. The kids are on break and the last thing they want is another lesson or school time. But, a lot of us on staff here are former educators, and we know the best way to learn is to do something that the kids don't think that they're learning. They think that they're having fun. And so we know to sneak in that learning in a way that they're doing something and, going to talk about what they learned later and not even realize that they really had a lesson.
And take it from the kids' perspective. It's just a week off of school. I can catch up on some homework for some of the older kids, or maybe play some games or watch some shows that I've been backed up on doing all this classroom work and all the other extracurricular activities. It's my time to relax. But from a parent's perspective, from an educator's perspective, why are these breaks, continuing that learning, why is that so important?
So the best thing you can do for your brain is use it every day. It's like a muscle, and we don't want to give our muscles too much time off. We don't want to give our brains too much time off. Um, and also just the social aspect. I know for a lot of kids, being home for a long time without the interaction with their peers can be isolating, and so our programs will have other kids there to talk to, and that's so important as well.
We're joined by Justine Flores. She is a youth services librarian at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. There are 5 different activities for spring break programs. Can all be found on West Bloom LIB on Facebook or WBLIB.org. Navigate to their calendar on the brand new website to find even more information on all these spring break programs and more. March 25th through the 28th is their spring break programming for kids all throughout our local area. And Justine, if people want to get involved in these programs, is there any registration that goes into it, or can they just show up with their kids to these programs and get right into that learning?
So some of our programs have no registration, so anyone can just come and see. You can see which ones require registration on our website or our print materials. If registration is required, the easiest way to do that is online ahead of time, so that when you come in, you're on the list and we say go right ahead. But if you want to come day of and see if we have room, you could also do that. I know some of them are getting quite full, so we really do recommend doing it on the website ahead of time.
And you mentioned that these programs are for a variety of different ages. There are programs for the younger kids and programs for the older kids. Do they tend to have elements of both in each of them, or are there ones that are targeted specifically for maybe the elementary school kids or the early middle school kids, and others for those late in middle school and into high school?
That's a great question. So each one has a recommended range, and in general.
And all those programs.
And
Oh,
are we
please
here?
go ahead. We just had a brief freeze with you, Justine. Please continue.
So the age ranges are there, the recommended ranges, and in general, it will be a bit younger or a bit older. However, each child is their own, universe, and I always recommend if you think that sounds really interesting to your child, even if they're a year or two out of the range, that's totally fine. We're not IDing at the door.
Again, more information on all of these programs is available at WBLIB.org. If you navigate to their calendar, you can scroll through each day of this week and find all of these different programs on their website. You just scroll over the program. It'll tell you that age range. So Elementary Savvy Scientist, it tells you kids grades K through 2 and grades 3 through 5. It tells you how many seats are remaining if registration is required, and even more information on the program as well. WBLIB.org. You can also find more programs from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library all throughout the year on their Facebook page at West Bloom LIB. Joining us is Justine Flores, Youth Services Librarian at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. And Justine, how do programs like this for a spring break program, how do they kind of mirror what you may have in the summer or during the winter break or other stoppages in learning? And how does that also overall just fit the vision of the Youth Services Department at the library?
So we have a couple different categories of programs like STEAM learning, reading education, cultural education, or just recreational, just for fun. So we try to have a balance of these different kinds of programming to make sure we're hitting all of our bases. And we do that all year long, of course. And so we have some, concerts, some just for fun, some singing, some dancing. We have some science, as you see, and cultural programs. So we try to get a good range of different kinds of learning.
And how do your colleagues at the library, but also the parents and the kids, often find that these programs affect their learning in the classroom afterward? Do you find that these help to get them even more engaged in what they're already experiencing in the classroom?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite thing is hearing from students or from their parents about, the things that they're already passionate about, and, they'll share, they're happy to share with us about what they're already like almost experts about. So we use the kids themselves and their passions to think about what kind of programs we want to do going forward, and definitely hope that that builds into more learning.
So, Justine, even if they're not able to participate maybe in these programs, maybe the timing doesn't align, maybe the registration is closed for one that really catches their eye, what other programs are available or initiatives are available all the time in the Youth Services Department that parents and kids can engage in year-round?
Um, yeah, great question. We have a whole range of things that parents can check out and take home. So, we want to have people think of the library as, books and more. So, of course, we have books. We have books that have a recording device so students can listen and read at the same time. We have a wide range of educational tablets. Each one has between 12 and 20 games preloaded on it on a certain topic, and those go from 0 to 12 years old. We have these literacy kits that range in age also from 0 to 12. Um, each of those has a specific topic, ranging from school topics like reading, science, math, to social emotional learning. We call those tender topics, things that, it might be easy. It might be a little bit harder to have a conversation about topics like moving, um, separation anxiety, changing family dynamics. So we have these kits that parents can check out. They all have toys and games about that topic and an age range that it's recommended for. So we hope that people take full advantage of all of our resources all year long.
And it's also in one of the, I would argue, and you'd probably be a better expert being an educator yourself and someone that has experience working in the library, arguably or inarguably the best youth services area in the entire state that you'll see at any library. It's such an engaging environment, and I remember growing up in West Bloomfield, walking into that area with my grandparents or with my parents, and it really was like you walked into the library, you take a quick right turn after you get through the main entrance, and you're in a whole different world.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have a great supportive community that allows us to, have this wonderful space that, kids can really feel like it's their own. It's a special space for them, and we're always trying to think of better ways to serve our community, and make the space, change over time, and just offer more and better things. And we're very excited for the support of our community and to make it better.
You can always keep up to date on the latest and greatest programs at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library for kids, for families, and those of all ages. West Bloom, LIB on Facebook, or WBLIB.org. Justine, anything else for us before we let you go today?
It's always a great time to visit the library. We're open from 9 to 9, Monday through Thursday. So maybe on these spring break or vacations, the kids might be up a little late. So don't feel like it has to be in the morning. We're open a long time, and come see us anytime. We're open 7 days a week, except this Sunday, of course. It's a holiday. We'll be closed, but we're happy to see you anytime.
Yeah, 2 branches to the library as well. The main branch on Walnut Lake Road, right next door to us in the Town Hall complex, and then on Pontiac Trail, you'll find the West Acres branch over as you head toward Commerce. Justine, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. WBLIB.org for more information on all of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's spring break programs. This is the time of the year where your kids are often from the classroom, but don't want to let them off the hook too easily and get them too engaged in their devices. Got to keep them in that routine while also allowing them to have a whole lot of fun each and every day. And Kevin, as we think about ways to get our kids engaged during this time of the year, we think about the warmer seasons of the year, getting them back outside and away from those screens and having fun, maybe even learning some of the most popular sports from across the entire world, including soccer.
Yeah, Tyler, you can call me old school, but I'm from the generation that was outside. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So during this time of spring break, if you need something to do for your tiny human outside of their learning institution, West Bloomfield Parks has something for you. As a matter of fact, registration is going on right now for their youth soccer academy. A chance to get your kids outside. Join us to talk a little bit more about that in its details. We have recreation programmer for West Bloomfield Parks, Mike Hodgins, joining us. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So first and foremost, Youth Soccer Academy, something to get the kids out. Registration is open right now. Can you just give out some more details as to when this starts, when registration ends, the qualifications for it, etc.?
Yeah, so we have partnered with Liverpool FC, which is Liverpool International Academy in Michigan. So we have soccer programs ranging from 4 to 5 year olds all the way up to 11 to 12. We have openings right now for spring. It goes from April 13th all the way to May 18th. So it'll be 6 weeks of Saturdays sessions. Our older groups will have Wednesday practices. And then our registration deadline is actually coming up this March 29th. So this week. Again, it's a perfect time to get your kids outside and get ready for the summer and all the events that follow.
Exactly right, Mike. And this is exactly why we had you on the show specifically this week, because we know registration is ending very, very soon. And we want to get the word out there for parents, like we said, who are looking for something to do for their kids to get them outside for this upcoming spring and summer weather. So you say you partner with Liverpool Football Club International Academy. Can you talk about how that partnership enhances this program for the local community children?
Yeah, so we use all their coaches. All their coaches are very experienced in soccer. They've all played at a high level. So I mean, if anywhere from basic ball manipulation, athletic development, dribbling, turns, fun and creative games, all the way up to um, you know, followed by an training session once a week, followed by an in-house game on the weekend. So it's really, I mean, for all groups, whether 4, 5, 6, 7, beginner, you have experience, etc. This would be a great program for you.
And like you said, there's many different age groups. They're ranging from let me get this right. You said from 4 all the way to 12, essentially. How are these teams formed within each age group, and what considerations are taken into account to ensure fairness and inclusivity with these team formation process?
Yeah, of course. So we have the option, if you ever want to play with your friends, your neighbors. It is a first come, first serve, but if we can accommodate you playing with your friends and neighbors, you guys sign up at the same time, then we'll go ahead and do that. And again, it goes from, the beginner, you're a beginner, all the way up to play for a couple years. Uh, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that information, Mike. Again, we have Mike Hodgins, recreation programmer for West Bloomfield Parks, joining us to talk about the West Bloomfield Park Youth Soccer Academy. Registration is officially open right now, and it does end later this week with the actual program starting in April. So, for families interested in the Reds Junior Academy on the weekdays and weekends, what additional information can you provide about the program structure and how it differs from the weekend only session?
Yeah, so our younger kids will basically on Saturdays they'll show up. We'll have activities planned for them, so it'd be basic ball games to drills, etc. And then usually by the end they do an in-house game. The first couple weeks, as you can tell, they kind of run around the ball, but after first couple weeks, then they start actually playing a little bit. And then with our older kids, they practice once a week on Wednesday, and then they actually do an in-house game on Saturday. So they're getting the full experience of a practice on one day, and then being able to compete on that Saturday later.
Great information to give out, Mike. Well, lastly, before we go, please give out any additional information, anything else that you all have coming up that you want to spread the word to the community.
Yeah, so another thing on this soccer program as well is that it's all based out of Drake Sports Park. So if you don't want to travel as much, this is another great option. And then we also have all of our summer programming that is actually going to start on April 8th, which will be registration. And our household guides should hopefully be there by April 15th. And like I said, that will be all our summer programming from April 8th all the way until just about the fall time. So end of August. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely. Very exciting. Happy to get outside. Happy to get the kids outside too. Thank you so much for sharing that information, Mike, and taking time out of your very busy schedule. Once again, Mike Hodgins, West Bloomfield Parks Recreation Programmer, joining us to talk about the registration process and the actual event for the Youth Soccer Academy. Thank you again, sir.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like I said, I am a big fan, big proponent of getting these kids outside, getting them away from. It's okay to have the kids play games every now and then, Tyler, but essentially, we want to get these kids outside so they can touch the earth, be outside, and enjoy the great air, and just enjoy those type of activities.
Yeah, it's a really important thing to do, especially as kids are getting ready to get out of school, and we'll have those summer activities. Get them outside, get them engaged in something, and that's how they get that social, emotional learning that they're not going to necessarily get from in a textbook or in a classroom. And there's so many different ways to engage them in these sorts of activities all throughout the year, especially now during this spring break season as well, Kevin.
Yes. So we have so many other things for kids to get out and enjoy in the community while, whether or not they have a spring break going on or not. And one of the things being at a local establishment, the Friendship Factory. It already sounds like a great place. They have a staycation slime lab that they are hosting for local kids. To talk about that a little bit more, we actually have the owner of the Friendship Factory. And forgive me if I say your name wrong. We have Lana Kanea joining us, the owner of the Friendship Factory. Thank you for joining us, Lana.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Can you just pronounce it correct? How do we say your name correct?
It's okay. It's okay. It's Lana Kanaya.
Lana Kanaya. Thank you so much. We
Not a
appreciate
problem.
it. Lana, the Friendship Factory.
Yes.
When I saw this, when I heard about it, the kid in me got excited. What is the Friendship Factory overall?
It is an absolutely amazing, amazing place. It is somewhere where kids can come and have the best day ever. And we have something for everyone. We have crafts for our crafty kids. We have a glam room for our makeup, hair, and nail loving kids. And we have a VIP lounge as well for everyone to have the ultimate dance party. Where they get up on stage, the lights go off, the strobe lights go on, microphones in hand, and they have the ultimate party back there as well. So we really have something for everyone here. We pride ourselves on really just doing the best job. We have such an amazing staff. And to your point about the Slime Lab Staycation, we have great monthly events that are always themed and really just bring all sorts of fun to a great group of kids every time.
Oh my God, Lana, I'm so excited. So let me tell you I'm just instantly getting like when I was a kid, I was watching like All That. And All
Yes.
That was one of those shows where it was a bunch of kids like running things. It was a kids show ran by kids for kids. This seems like the actual physical place for that. Like it's a place for kids. It almost seems
Yes.
like a club for kids. Like they get to learn things, they get to play, they get to come together. It seems like a very exciting thing. So what's the inspiration behind this specific event, the Slime Lab, Staycation Slime Lab?
Yeah, so I think it's not a secret that slime is the ultimate experience and has remained the ultimate experience for years.
Mhm.
But crazy enough, slime has evolved, right? So slime has gone from just basic slime making in your basement to making crunchy slime and cloud slime and glitter slime. And, now kids are getting creative with adding charms to their slime. Like it's evolved into this amazing thing that we were able to put on a 4-hour slime staycation extravaganza. for all these different types of kids that get to come in. We're personalizing aprons for them. We have tons of stations where they make different kinds of slime. All their slime gets to go home with them. Sorry, mom and dad, they do get to keep all their slimes and take all their slimes home to play with. And then on top of that, we always provide them lunch, snack, and then of course the usual Friendship Factory fun, games, and dance party as always.
Beautiful opportunity to get your kids out there from the greater West Bloomfield area and enjoy the Friendship Factory. Here to tell us a lot about what's going on at the Friendship Factory, specifically their Staycation Slime Lab. We have owner Lana Kanaya joining us to talk about the Staycation Slime Lab and everything that they have going on. Can we get into a little bit more of the things that you have going on outside of the slime lab? Because like you said, you have monthly events. Just get into some of the most engaging events.
We do, honestly. And that's the thing I think most people don't really know about our brand, is that we do so much here. So we do everything from birthday parties to call ahead appointments. We do drop-in crafts. We do the monthly events. We do summer camps. So a little something for everybody. You don't have to have this big extravagant party just to come in and visit with us, right? You can call ahead and bring in 1 or 2 friends to enjoy the day. You can book your kids for our summer camps. You can do so much. And again, we have something for everybody. If your child doesn't want to come in and get their hair done or their nails done, that's okay. Guess what? They can make a bracelet. They can paint a photo on a canvas. They can create their own sugar scrubs, lip glosses, lotions, perfumes. They can do so much. And the best thing too is that the front of the store is a full retail boutique open for everyday shopping on top of everything that we do in the store.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you really have a lot going on. I can see so many different things for kids to get into and just enjoy themselves, get out of their parents' hair for a few hours or so. But speaking of that, I feel like that's a great point to bring up. As a parent myself, this is key information. Is this one of those situations, or is it event specific, where parents come, drop their kids off, or are parents or guardians required to be there with the child at all times?
They drop off is encouraged. We do ask for parents to drop off their kids. We do what we call a lock-in. Once all the kids are checked in, we lock our front doors, so it's our staff and all of the kids in the store. And it's kind of like, again, the ultimate party for both the staff and the kids. We have just as much fun as the kids do when they're here. And then, like I said, every event is themed. So depending on what your child is into, you can book them for that event. We have a Taylor Swift Ultimate Swiftie Camp coming up. We have a Paris Glam Camp coming up. We just launched our teen series where we have our tweens coming for, learning about the trends that are out there. We've done a lot of things with that lately. So lots of, again, different things depending on what you're into. We have something for you. It seems like the list never ends, which is a great thing. But we have tons of stuff here. The events, again, the summer camps, the drop-off is encouraged. I have had moms in the past, if they're, they have really small little ones, they have stuck around. And what I always find is within the first, I'd say 30 to 40 minutes of them being here, they look over and say, Lana, we really don't need to be here. We're going to run out, run a few errands, grab some dinner, and we'll be back.
And that's great that you ensure that type of environment for parents, because that is a very sticky subject right there, and very concerning. But it's very, very important that you ensure that. With that being said, real briefly, if you don't mind, your staff, the Sparkle Squad, if I'm getting that correct, they're called this. How do you go about selecting, recruiting, and training your Sparkle Squad to make sure that they are encouraging this safe environment for attendees?
Our Sparkle Squad is absolutely amazing. So we go through a full process. I also, Kevin, am a parent myself, and I always say I feel like my mom hat goes on before my business owner hat goes on, and I think that that's very important to be able to relate to other parents and understand how important their precious children are to them. So I think that that's number one. And that's one of the first things that we teach our Sparkle Squad is that we are dealing with people's children, which is they are so precious and so amazing. And ultimately, they deserve this amazing experience. And that's what we're here to give them. Of course, safety first. Treating everybody with kindness, with love, with respect, and that's ultimately what this brand stands for and why it was created. And we always say, not only do we teach the kids who walk through the door what the brand stands for, but the Sparkle Squad stands for all of those things as well. So it's very important to lead by example.
Great to hear. Great to hear. And thank you so much for that information, Lana. The Friendship Factory Staycation Slime Lab. Real quick, just tell people the important information about the event and how they can register and become part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So please head over to our website. You'll get to see so many wonderful things. www.thefriendshipfactory.com. We have an events tab where you can see and sign up for our Slime Lab Staycation Camp. We will also have on that page all of our upcoming events, our summer camps. We have a mother-daughter event. We have a daddy-daughter dance coming up. So lots of different things. Please check those out. We also have tons of photos on there so you can really feel the experience. And you can also check out our party packages on that website as well.
Joining us to talk about the Friendship Factory, West Bloomfield, and everything that they have going on for the kids, owner of the Friendship Factory, Lana Kanaya. Thank you again for joining us to talk about what you have going on.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate it. We hope to see everybody in store.
Absolutely. And great to get that information, that word out to the community, Tyler. Another thing for parents to look forward to for their kids if you need something for your kids to do.
Yeah, and all throughout the year as well, and an interesting business operating right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. We'll have plenty of more information about everything happening across our 4 communities and beyond coming up all throughout the week. Stay with us, and we thank you for joining us on today's edition of The Splash Live.